before we started practice was, listen, you know, the minutes are going to be really hard to come by, and more than ever, practice, what you do in training and these scrimmages is going to determine, how many minutes you get. So that was kind of my message. And we also wanted to let them know that the first month or so, it was pretty much, we're so happy everybody's back and we get to play and train, and we're just so excited to be here. And then you kind of realize we're 2 weeks out from real games and we're about to play our bedlam rival. We don't care if it's a COVID year or any other year, we want to win the game. So we want to kind of switch the mindset a little bit to, it's great, we're getting to do this, but let's not forget we're here to compete as well.
Right. And what are some things you look for to separate players from other players?
Yeah, it's hard. We've got a core group of established players, I think, who played large minutes last year, and they're going to play huge minutes again this year. What we're looking for are those pieces that will help fill in around them. And, some of the newcomers, we're still getting to know them. On a normal year, we would have the exhibition game plus some non-conference games to bed them in and really get a feel for what they can do at this level. And unfortunately for them and us, that doesn't exist this year. So we have to hit the ground running. So we're looking for basically players to complement that core group. Whether that's, a defender who's kind of hard-nosed, or a midfielder who can play good passes to play in Gabriella with her pace, or, whether it's somebody that can spell, Charmé or somebody like that who might need a little breather. That's the kind of group we're looking for at this point.
And my last question on this topic is, how effective have those scrimmages been? Have you pretty much now found your core group of 11 players to start the field?
No, yeah. First of all, they've been helpful. I think anytime you can play full field, it does give you a better feel than maybe just doing a little 5v5 or 6v6 in training. But there's no substitute for getting out and playing a real game against competition, and that's when we'll really find out what these new kids are all about. So like I said, usually those non-conference games, there's a few in there that you probably are going to be up a few goals and you get to play some players and give them minutes, but that's made it more challenging. As far as the group, we feel great about a group of about 8 or 9. We feel like those kids are locked in. And then there's probably another group of 7 or 8 that have done enough to be really looked at, seriously as contenders for minutes. And within that sort of second group of 7 or 8, it would be awesome if we could get that down to about 4 or 5. And then that kind of builds your squad of maybe 15 that realistically are going to get some quality minutes. So that's where we are. And who knows, I'm not sure we get there by next Friday for the OU game, but we'll see where we are at that point. But we feel really good. We've got a core that's very strong. And we do have some of the newcomers that are really starting to show well. So we feel pretty good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Coach, what formations do you feel the team is really comfortable in so far? And what is there anything specific about your personnel that make those formations suitable?
Yeah, so the last 3 or 4 years, we've played what would be considered a unique shape for soccer. We call it a 3-4-3, 3 backs, 4 mids, and 3 forwards. It can much like a 5-2-3. It can look very much like a 5-4-1 if we're getting ultra defensive to protect the lead. So we have this shape that we play that, that core group are very comfortable in. So that's the first thing. And then, so that's really the main shape we'll play. At times, we might push an extra player up if we need a goal late in the game or something like that, but that's going to be our base. And then some of the keys to making that system work, we play with 2 wing backs. Much of the time that's been Charmé Morgan and Hannah Webb. And without those 2 and their ability to play huge minutes at a high level, I'm not sure our system would be as good. Alex Morris came in last spring as a freshman, and she can play there, and she's doing a very good job out wide as well. So without those 3, it would be tough to get through the season in this just shape. We'd probably have to change it. And then the other thing is just getting the kids familiar with the shape. Grace Yoakum is such a great player, and she can play as one of the attacking players or one of the holding mids. and she's equally as good in both positions. So our job is to figure out game to game, maybe even minute to minute within a game, where do we want to play Grace? And then having players, like Cami Huddleston just knows her role so well within this shape, and Allie Jackson and players like that. They're just so comfortable. So this year, that'll be our base shape. And, next year, if we graduate some players, we might change it because we might have a different dynamic within our group and look at something else. But for right now, I think, when you have good success in a system and you've got personnel that can play it, it makes sense to stick with it, I think.
Hi, Coach.
Hello.
I'm just wondering, I have two questions for you. My first one, I'm curious, have you heard anything, if there will be restrictions on attendance for your games this season, or fans? Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, I've heard. I don't think there's anything concrete, but I do think it's institution by institution, a little bit like football. The local communities and the institution, they're going to make decisions based on the health and safety in their communities, I think. So, I think we'll be different from Texas, and Texas will be different from OU, and Kansas will be different from Iowa State. I believe for the OU game, it's going to be a pass list only. That was the word from their coach. We plan to touch base on Monday to talk about that, but he gave me an early indication that it may be the home team's pass list, which I think is 4 per player and staff, and also the visiting team. So, you might be looking at a couple of hundred people maybe. At Oklahoma State, I know they're working through it right now. We're quite hopeful that we could get pass list plus maybe some season ticket holders and maybe a few students, kind of mimic what we're talking about with football on a smaller scale for our stadium. That's our hope. But, as Chad and Coach Holder say all the time, these plans are fluid and they can change all the time. But we're hopeful here, at least in Stillwater, that we'll have be able to get, I don't know, a number, 400, 500 fans in through the gate. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Is Chad or Coach Holder, are they the ones like making that decision?
Yeah, I think obviously in consult with President Hargis and the board and whoever else on campus would be involved, and probably the city and state officials that make those decisions as well related to COVID. So I know there's a lot of voices involved in that, and hopefully we'll get some clarity. The good news for us is we don't play at home for 2 weeks, so there's a little bit of time there to make that happen. But obviously those decisions have to start getting made sooner rather than later.
For sure. And kind of switching gears on you quite a lot, actually. When I was at the scrimmage, I noticed something I thought was pretty fascinating was how JC Jones was there, like helping y'all out in practice, and she actually seemed like very involved from what I could be. I think she was like reffing the game for a little bit. So I'm just wondering, like, I don't know. I guess I'll leave it kind of open-ended, but what role does JC play to hang back and help you guys, and like what does she mean to the team?
Well, it's interesting. There's actually been a recent development with JC. So she came on board this summer as our volunteer 5th-year student coach.
Okay.
She was going to be here finishing school. And of course, we reached out to her immediately and said, we'd love you to be around our kids because she's such a, great player, great person, and kind of can be a mentor to some of our younger players. So we wanted JC around if possible. Well, she just got a call, I think 2 nights ago. She's been invited down to Houston to play for the NWSL, the women's professional team. So she'd have to let you guys know the details. I'm not sure exactly how it works. It's brand new. She literally told us yesterday that she's probably going to be leaving to go down to Houston and be part of that. So we're obviously thrilled for her. What an opportunity to go try and play professional soccer. And, I'm sure she'd be happy to speak to you guys about it. Wade maybe can chat to JC and get some details, because I don't want to misquote anything, but I do know that we thought she's going to be here this fall, but of course we're 100% supportive of her chasing up that opportunity.
Yeah. And was I guess I wasn't around the program last year, so but I can only assume that she was maybe as a senior, she was already probably mentoring players on the team. What was she like last year as kind of a player coach? How did she function in that role last year as a player?
Absolutely amazing. One of the best players we've had here, but certainly one of the best leaders. It was like having another coach on the field. Just JC's behavior on and off the field was exemplary. And, that rubs off on everybody else. Her enthusiasm was just contagious within the group. If you know, coaches have a bad day, we get grumpy, and you know, she'd be the one to turn, hey, come on, let's go. Or if the players were down a little bit with a bad performance, she'd be the one that kind of got everybody rolling. And you know, the flip side is she would also hold people accountable. So she just brought so many facets to the program, and anytime she wants to be around our team, we would encourage it 100%.
That's awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
And I do have one other kind of train of thought, one other observation I've noticed for you, Coach. Throughout these Zoom calls, it feels like everybody has a nickname. People are calling Olivia Dowell Liv and Grace Yoakum like Yokes, and even you, they just call you Colin, right? You're not like Coach Carmichael.
No.
I get that nicknames are kind of a part of sports, but is there like a theme that you've found in your team about nicknames?
No, it is funny. First of all, just with me, like for many, many years, when I was younger, I always felt like, you know, someone would be like, coach. And I was like, just Colin, you know, it's fine. And that kind of sticks. I think it just makes me feel older when everybody calls you coach, but maybe that's appropriate now, you know? But back then that was kind of my thought process. So either one's fine. I tell them all the time, I've probably been called a lot worse. So coach or Colin works for me. And then with the nicknames, a lot of them come in with them, you know. Like you said, soccer's very much, there is a heavy British influence, I think, in the youth soccer scene in America, in the US. And I think a lot of those coaches, very much like me and Justin, that's kind of what we grew up in. And, you know, somebody named Smith is Smitty, and somebody named, you know, Yoakum is Yokes, or, you know, that's just the way it's always been. So I think some of them come in with them, and you know, some of them pick them up as they go along. So, you know, we always have to be a little bit careful because, you know, some kids don't like their nicknames, and, you know, we just hear the other kids calling them, and we might jump in. They're like, coach, I really don't like that. I'm like, sorry, I didn't know. So, but it is very much a cultural thing in soccer, I think.
Yeah, Sam was like, hey, you got to ask this question. It's one I definitely wanted to ask. Do you have a favorite nickname that you've heard, or have a player?
I really liked, you know, we had a French player named Lorraine, and we called her Frenchie. So that was always one that I thought was pretty cool. Geez, I'm just trying to think. Over the years, there's been a lot. You know, out of the current group, I think Yokes is pretty cool for Yoakum. That seems to fit. So G, you know, Gabriella, just going by G, I think that's a pretty cool one. Just that one letter, you know, G. But yeah, I'll think on that a little bit. I bet there's been some good ones over the years that I've forgotten about. You know, of course, Yolanda Odenyo, who's now Thomas, one of our former All-Americans, just her nickname was Yo. I always just thought that was cool. It just sounds cool, you know. Hey, Yo, what's up?
Do you have any nicknames? Any nicknames for you?
For me?
Mm-hmm.
No, not really. Too old for nicknames. Maybe when I was younger. Maybe some nicknames that I didn't want to have that people just gave to me. Wade might know a couple. I don't know.
Do you think that just kind of says like, hey, our team's kind of familiar with each other? Like nicknames, they show some sort of familiarity and kind of cohesion.
I think so. You know, I think, you know, there's a bunch. Oh, speaking of nicknames, Charmé goes by Meme sometimes. So that's a really good one. And I didn't make that one up. That was her peers, I believe. I just followed along. But yeah, I mean, it does. I think there's a familiarity, and like you said, the sort of soccer culture, nicknames is kind of a big part. I mean, you see it on TV too with all the pro teams. A lot of those players have nicknames as well. So it probably just trickles down to us.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, you got it. So I think I've got G and Charmé here. Any preference on who's first, or?
I don't mind.
Either or?
Either way is good with us.
Charmaine's taking it, I think. Here she comes. Go, buddy. You're up.
Am I allowed to take mine off, or do I have to keep it on?
You take it off.
Okay.
There's nobody around you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Sorry, just turning it up. Yeah, I got it.
Oh,
Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So First of all, I don't know. I haven't had a Zoom call with you yet. My name is Ben. I'll be one of the soccer beat reporters for the Okali. I just want to say hi.
Hi, how are you been?
I'm doing great. It's good to talk to you
You too.
about the nicknames, right? That was one thing I really had a question about, and Coach Carmichael just hit on May. Like, I'm not sure, how do you, was that your nickname? How do you feel about that?
Honestly, that's been my nickname since I was in the fourth grade. Um, I don't know, one of my teachers, he just came up with it and it kind of like just stuck. And so everyone like just called me that. And then I got here and a former teammate, they were just joking around and they started calling me that. And I was like, I just responded to it and they were like, oh, you like that? And I was like, that's been my nickname since the fourth grade. Like, it's nothing new. So they just started laughing and they're like, oh, okay. So it kind of like just stuck here too. So yeah.
I like that. And one other thing besides nicknames is I got to attend a practice this last Friday. It was an 11-on-11 scrimmage that you guys did.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Carmichael was saying how he wanted like the intensity up and everyone, competing for those like kind of final spots. And I'd imagine, from what I've seen and from your past track record, your spot is pretty locked in. But what's kind of your role in those team scrimmages? Is it to kind of maybe probably obviously like do your best, but is your role to maybe look out and try and help other teammates who are pushing to make a spot on the roster?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, being an older player, um, that um, is something that I can help to contribute to, setting up players and also like doing my part. Because if I don't do my part, then maybe someone else can't do theirs. So, whether it's making that one run or whether it's holding back so that way someone else can go and attack and, they can, show their moves, what they can do too. And yeah, just setting people up for success. So yeah, most definitely.
Right. And on those 11-on-11 scrimmages, I'm curious, when you're down there in the heat of the moment, like you're trying to score, all that stuff, do you view the 11 people on the other side of the line? Do you view them as teammates or do you view them as opponents?
Um, that's a good question. I think definitely as an opponent, because like you said, like we're all still, fighting for that, like our spots, and you might think, my spot is locked in, but I never think I'm safe. So you always have to play 100%, 110%, no matter scrimmage or practice. And like Colin always says, your spot's not always guaranteed. Um, so you always do have to show up and play. And yeah, I definitely view, the other team as opponents, regardless they're teammates or not. We're all here, to play, and we all, we want to start. So, and like if that's what it takes, you leave it on the field, and we can be friends after. But that's just it's just a different mentality.
And my last question for you is, when you're, like battling an opponent, it's so easy to get worked up and like, really try your best out there. Do you have to at all like kind of hold back and say, wait, like I can't go 100% here. I don't want to risk like injuring myself or my teammates. What's kind of your mindset going into scrimmages?
Um, I think it's just I guess just getting used to my role and, playing with different people and just, getting used to how they play. It's just preparation. But also at the same time, like I said, going out there being, playing 110%. Um, and then, like I said, like just getting used to the play and how everyone plays. So
Thank you.
thank you.
How is your comfort level either increased or decreased because of the like prolonged off season?
Hmm. Um, it's definitely been tricky um, because like I didn't get to play this summer. Usually I always play this summer, and that definitely helps like get out the bad touches and preparation for going into preseason, along with fitness wise and stuff like that. Um, it has been challenging. My comfort, I think it's definitely like getting there. Um, but there's also like so many different factors, like there's new players, and then with COVID and then having to hold back and all that stuff. So it's getting there. I think it's almost there. It might take a little bit of time, but yeah.
Is there any thought that maybe the other teams you're going to be playing against are also going to be going through similar circumstances that could make them feel that way as well?
Oh, definitely, 100%. We all we're all pretty much going through the same thing. Maybe like in different locations. I think it'd be different. You know, being at like UT or like being here where it's more rural and I guess the environment's a little bit different. Um, but yeah, I think definitely yeah, like we're all like having to adjust, in one way or another. Like I don't think anyone is maybe more of an advantage than another team necessarily. I think that we're all having some adversity that we have to, deal with.
And then just with the formation that that you all are running, have you in scrimmages played in other positions as like experimental at all?
Yeah, I played as center back a couple of times, um, but that's something that I haven't ever played before. Pretty much that, and just like wing back is really just what I've done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sam. I'm also one of the beat reporters covering you guys, so wanted to say hi before I jump in with a couple questions.
Oh, are you two twins?
My first question is I'm wondering, have you heard if there will be any restrictions for like fans or anything like that? I don't know how you'd feel about potentially less than fans, but like I'm assuming you want to see a full stadium. What are your thoughts on potentially reduced fans this year?
Um, I mean, it'd be nice, but at the same time, I think that these strange times that we're in, it's definitely bigger than soccer. So if there has to be safety protocols, and we have to have less people in the stands, then I totally understand. Um, yeah.
That's a pretty yeah, that's really the only answer, I guess. My next question is, as someone who's played in a couple Bedlam soccer games before, and now that the first game is against OU, obviously, and almost a week away. Just I remember last week Hannah Webb was talking about how Bedlam games just feel a little different, and there's maybe some in the atmosphere. Could you kind of describe what does it feel like to play in a Bedlam game that maybe separates it from other games?
Ooh, I literally just got chills now just thinking about that. Because like you said, it's completely different. It's a completely different mentality. That's a huge rival, and you just want to go out there and like win and beat them, prove a point. Um, it's definitely like a whole lot more intense, and I don't know. You just really have to be on your game, for that game. Wow, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty intense. I
Yeah,
think it's probably the main thing to describe it. It's just really intense.
for sure. And my last question I wanted to ask you was about JC Jones, who was obviously an old teammate of yours, and now she was kind of in a coaching capacity. I recently, Coach Carmichael said that she may be moving on, but I'm wondering, what is it meant to have JC around the program, willing to come back and be a part of this program, even as not a player anymore?
It's a really good experience. I always love playing with JC, and I always love watching her play. I think that I've learned a lot on how to play better and how to improve my game, definitely just from watching her, and I think that a lot of people can too as well. I think it's a great thing. It's an honor, honestly. I mean, she's great. She's fantastic. I mean, you've seen her play. Um, it's it's great. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys have anything else, Jacob or Ben?
I think I'm good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're twins. I was like, wait.
Nice. Hey, wait.
All right. I guess we're good to go. Okay. First off, I'll say I'm Sam. I'm gonna be one of the beat reporters covering you guys this year. So we haven't had a Zoom call together before. So I want to say hi before I ask you a bunch of questions. My first one is going to be about kind of like restrictions possibly in the stadium for fans. I'm not sure how you feel about that. I'm just wondering, like, what do you think it'll be like to maybe play in front of less fans, or will you notice it that much? What are your thoughts about potentially having a reduced capacity in the stands?
Well, I feel like it'll be a little disappointing having less fans because I mean the crowd gets me pumped up and like getting excited and ready for games. But I mean, usually I really can't focus on that because I'm focusing on like playing wise. But I think it's gonna be different. I'm not really ready for that, but I mean it is what it is, and just like people's safety and like health and like I mean they're doing this for a reason, so I can't really complain about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna ask you about. I remember last week Hannah Webb. She was telling me about how kind of Bedlam games they feel different from any other game that you guys play. Maybe just like there's some different in the atmosphere. What does it feel like to play in a Bedlam game, and what kind of separates them from other games?
Oh, Bedlam game. I mean, biggest rivalry. It gets me really excited. Like I'm ready to go. Like I'm super pumped because I mean it's a versus school that I mean obviously no one likes and like you want to beat them really bad. So to me, I'm like yeah, like this is the team that like I'm ready to play for. Like this game, I'm so excited and I'm like I have so much adrenaline, like more than other games that I play in. So yeah, like it's a big deal.
For sure. And my last question before I hand it off to either Jacob or Ben is about JC Jones and how she's kind of been her capacity with the team. I remember, like, obviously you played with her before and she was a great player for you guys, but now that she's come back and helped out in a coaching capacity for a little while, what does that say about her and I guess the team as a whole that she wants to come back and be around Cowgirl soccer?
Um, it's just as she cares. Like I see JC as a mentor now since like she's not playing with us, but like she helped me a lot and like making me feel comfortable and like even though like sometimes I was always like stressed out like before games and she always knew how to like calm me down and to like tell me that everything's gonna be okay and she's just like always been there for me and like to have her like still here makes me feel so good because I'm like well at least I am comfortable with someone here who even though I'm not with her on the field it's still nice to, like have her around.
For sure. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what is your comfort level within your position and within this team?
My comfort level, it's like really good. I mean, at first when I transferred in, it wasn't comfortable because I didn't know anybody, and I mean, I didn't know any of the players, and I know how like their formation worked out. But like when I first got into the groove of it, I felt like kind of better than like in the fall. Then I was like, okay, like now I feel really comfortable with the team. Like I have nothing like to worry about or be stressed out about. And then I just always felt comfortable since I've been here. So.
And with the just the way this formation runs, are you expecting this team to want to go forward more because of the lack of extra games to make up?
I would think so, yes. But even though like we would still try to move the ball around, but I feel like going forward more would be like more of the options now, which to me I'm like I have to do my job and like even if like we don't go forward, I still have to do my job. But like even like us going forward a lot, yes, like I have to like be mindful and then like do my part and just do what I do on the field.
And do you think other teams might have a different approach to that? Whereas if they get a result they would like, that they would maybe really hold on to the ball and sit back and just defend really a lot deeper than what it would look like in a typical year?
No, not really. Well, I think so, but like not as much. I feel like a team like wouldn't hold back against us. I feel like they'll try to like go forward at us a lot, but not to like hold us back as much.
Thank you.
Hello, Gabriella.
Hi.
I'm Ben. I'll also be one of the beat reporters for the Okali. Really looking forward to covering you guys this season. Now I was scrolling through social media today, and I just like happened upon the most lucky post ever because I saw a post about um, you having a nickname as just G, and I asked Coach Carmichael about it, and he said like nicknames are really common on your guys' team. I'm curious, like, do you like the nickname like G, and how did you get it?
Well, I do like the nickname G. I actually got it freshman year when I was at Mississippi State because people said it was too hard to say my full name, like Gabriella on the field, so like no one could really yell that. And I just had like several different nicknames. So I had like G, I had some of my teammates back at home call me Gab, or like other ones call me G baby, but like that's just like outside of soccer. I don't like Gabby. I've always told every coach I have not to call me that because I will not respond to that at all. G just fits, and it's easier, and I will respond. So, but I mean, that's how I got it. I just stuck with it for this whole time.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. It's a lot easier to get your attention across the field quickly by one syllable versus like Gabrielle, like four syllables. That's a lot easier to say.
Yeah, people only call me Gabriella, like by my full name, if like someone's actually really mad at me, and I will answer that though. So, but like G is like, yes, I'm like high alert if I hear G.
Does it? And I saw the post. It was like, it actually stands for G, but it could also stand for goal. Like, does it stand for one of those things?
I mean, yeah, I mean it does. I mean, being a forward and then G and then like goals. I mean, yeah, it does fit with that.
Gotcha. And a question on a completely different topic is about like the scrimmages you guys have done. Coach Carmichael invited us to watch one of the scrimmages, 11 on 11. You guys did Friday, and one of the things he said was like, guys, this is your last chance to really impress me if you're trying to earn some minutes and get and create like a full time spot. He also asked for the intensity to be really high. How does that feel like? Do you have to feel like you have to dial down your intensity because you don't want to go out and risk harming or injuring one of your teammates?
Sometimes I feel that way, but then there are other times I'm like, well, I can't put my intensity down because if I do that, then I'm not gonna hit the field. I'm not gonna be an option to like have a chance to help us win. So really, in my opinion, I'm like, well, I gotta go all out, but I won't try to like hurt my teammates or any of that type of stuff. Like I'll be careful and everything, but still, I gotta like play my hardest because I was like, I want to hit the field, and we only have 9 games this season, so I'm gonna do everything I can so I can play like all 9 games.
Do you think it's a lot harder to scrimmage with like no whistles? I saw one of your coaches was just having to like stick his fingers in his mouth and whistle as loud as he could to kind of get everyone's attention. Was that hard?
It was because then sometimes I'm like I can't hear or I don't know like what the call is. Cause like a whistle actually like helps me. I'm like, oh well, they called this. Like just not hearing anything kind of makes me like, well, I'm just gonna keep going because I heard no call. So that's just like how I am.
And one question I asked Charmé that she wasn't, like she kind of had to think about was when you're in an 11 on 11 scrimmage and you're just in like the heat of the moment, trying to score, trying to do your best to get your team to victory. Do you view the players, the other 11 players on the other side of the line, do you view them as opponents or teammates?
I view them as opponents because I'm like, no matter what, I mean, yeah, we're gonna be friends like outside the soccer field, but like on the field, we're not friends. Like I just instantly did that. I'm like, I'm not your buddy. Like you're how I see it. I'm like, you're the enemy, and I'm just trying to beat you. That's it. So,
Yeah. Do you think that mindset like helps you out on the field? Like play faster, play stronger, play better.
yes, most definitely. Because then my goal is like I have to beat this person. Like no matter what. Like this person is gonna be. I'm gonna like run them down, make them tired, make them not want to be around me the whole time we're on the field, and just like show like what I can do, and that I'm not the person like to be messing with when I'm on the field.
So in your mind, is it kind of like impossible to play against a friend? Like is that you just can't even fathom doing that?
No, it's not impossible. I mean, yeah, we're friends like outside soccer, but like on the field, I'm not your buddy. and I've made that clear.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We good, Wade?
I guess I should unmute
Oh,
myself
here.
so you guys can talk. I think we're good. If everybody's done. Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Wade, I did have a quick question. Do you think this Zoom call, like, I know, you know, everyone's trying to figure out this tech stuff and it's crazy. Did you figure out a way to maybe record this one? Or?
I believe so. We'll see. It says it's recording, so we'll see if it ends up on my computer.
Okay.
Would you want just the audio file, or would you want to see all
I
the ugly
think-
looks?
If the video is possible, that would definitely be ideal.
Okay. I will. We'll hope it works.
Awesome.
We'll find out here in just a second.
Yeah. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Wade.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you, Gabriella.
Thank you.